Now, first story, statistics released by the Ghana AIDS Commission indicates that there are about 150,000 people in Ghana who have HIV/AIDS but are unaware of their status. This, the Commission says, is particularly worrying because unlike persons who have the virus and know their status and so are likely to take steps to prevent spreading it, such persons could be innocently spreading the disease. Beyond that, these sufferers are denying themselves access to antiretroviral drugs which could help them live healthy lives. These alarming statistics come a day after the commemoration of World AIDS Day, which fell on Sunday. Acting Director General of Ghana AIDS Commission Chairman Atuahene is warning this could lead to a possible epidemic if active social mobilization and community participation are not enhanced. In the following interview with Malik Dabu, Mr. Atuahene also talked about how young women are particularly at great risk of contracting the disease.
In 2018, 19,931 people got infected in that year alone. The previous year was a little more than 20,000. And over the last 8 years, we are seeing decline in new infections of about 22%. Now, it is, in my view, still a problem to have high numbers of new infections because we have Ghana is a low prevalent country, and therefore we should not be seeing this large numbers of new infections. They are occurring because of just one fact. Majority of people who live with HIV who should be on antiretroviral treatment are not. And that is what is causing the problem. And in fact, most of them don't even know they have HIV because they've never tested. And that's about 150,000 of people living with HIV don't know they have it. Male-female breakdown for this age group, 15 to 24, is 1,175 for males, and that represents 22%, and 4,382 being females, representing 78.9%. And that is quite worrying. Worrying why? Because it is obvious that this large number of young females are getting infected. And it is obvious they are getting it from, older men. And that is what makes it worrying. Because what it means is that intergenerational sex is actually a major factor for HIV infections, and young girls have to take that into account. Yeah, of course, they may get all the fancy things from these older men, but in addition to HIV, and they should watch out.
Now, an interview joining is recorded 2 months ago with a 20-year-old lady is typical of how the Ghana AIDS Commission Director General says ladies are becoming infected at alarming rates. Akosia, not her real name, says she contracted HIV/AIDS from a man who promised to fund her education after she failed her WASI.
20-year-old Akosia, as I choose to call her, is one of the over 316,000 students who sat for the 2018 West African Senior School Certificate Examination. WASI results were finally out, but contrary to expectations, Akosia failed in 2 core subjects and had to resit the exams. Her parents could barely afford her fees the first time. Paying for another was beyond their means. Akosia started her own business selling noodles at night with the hope that she will be able to gather enough money to resit the exams. It was on one of those fateful nights that she met Kofi, a man in his 40s, who offered to help, but at a price.
I had no support, so I was working. That's where I met the man, and he said the way I'm hardworking, he wants to help me. So he guaranteed to pay for my fees my remedial fee. So he gave me the money to go and register. And later on, he invited me to his house. I went to his house. I didn't know what came, and we had sexual intercourse. I started falling sick here and there. When I went to the hospital, they did tests, blood tests, and the doctor said I'm having infection, and it was HIV-1 positive and HIV-2 negative. At first, I wanted to die. I can't sleep at night. I'll be crying the whole day. I'll go and hide at the washroom, then I'll be crying. Like I want to, because even though I'm not all that old, but what I have been so through since childhood till now, sometimes I feel sad. I don't see the essence of me coming to this life.
Out there on the streets of Accra, most people say they are aware of the disease and are taking measures to ensure they don't contract it.
Not at all. I'm not afraid.
Why?
Why should I be afraid? I'm not afraid. It's not an end in itself, so why should I be afraid? Well, I'm not sexually active, so sex is one of the major reasons or major ways of acquiring HIV, and I'm not sexually active. Secondly, I live alone, so I don't share cup spoons and all that with people where I stand the risk of getting the virus. So I think that I'm pretty safe. So no need to be afraid. Initially, there was the notion that HIV means that you're going to die and then life ends for you. But people have seemed to be enlightened, and HIV does not kill you, especially when you're able to manage yourself. They're antiretroviral drugs, so then if you're able to get them, you wouldn't get to that point where death will become something closer to you.
I'm not frightening, because now you have a medicine. When you take it, as doctors will direct you to do, you live for a longer time before you will be called to death.
Do you know your status yourself?
Not yet.
Why?
Oh, I'm not yet to go in for, but as at now, I have to go simply because I have to find out whether I'm infected or not, so that I can have drugs that to fight against the germs. Oh, in fact, I stick to my wife alone. I don't go out, and it's not only sex that cause or can give you that infection. Even a mere this infusion can give you the disease. So as far as we are all victim, whether you have sex behind your wife or behind your husband or not, you have to go and test for it. If you are known to be infected, then you know what to do.
Not at all, not at all. If I should be afraid, then I should also be afraid of the word sickle cell. I should be afraid of the word diabetes, hypertension, stroke, and any other conditions. No, so I'm not afraid at all. I'm not scared.
Why are you not afraid?
Yes, because we have a lot of conditions that people are living with. And doctors made us to understand that HIV also, you can live with it. You can live with the HIV until your God-given lifetime. And so I do not think I should be afraid. What you need to do is to just know your status and then learn how to live with it. It means that until you are married, you shouldn't have sex, so abstinence. And apart from that, also morality. That is what I do, and I think everybody should buy into that.
Right, so there's a misconception put out by the first person we spoke with, and he says that he lives alone, and so he doesn't stand the risk. He doesn't share cups and spoons and plates with someone, an infected person, so that he can contract it. But it's not accurate. You don't get HIV by sharing the same spoon or cup or plate with somebody who has HIV. Meanwhile, the Greater Accra and Ashanti regions are leading in new HIV infections, and these are the statistics for you. For adult prevalence, it stands at 2.06%. That's for Greater Accra. People living with HIV, that's 77,132. New infections, 4,593, and AIDS deaths, 3,268. So just for your information, there are 77,132 people living in the Greater Accra region who have HIV/AIDS. So in the Ashanti region, there are 75,675 people living with HIV/AIDS, and the adult prevalence rate is at 1.94%. New infection stands at 4,506, and AIDS deaths stands at 3,206. You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break, but still ahead in the bulletin. The Parliament has approved the withdrawal of the government's decision to abort the process leading to the election of MMDCs and the participation of political parties in local government elections. The minority in Parliament is, however, accusing President Akufo-Addo of lynching the Constitution.
Granting the leave asked for by the Attorney General, and I so grant leave to withdraw the bill.
The sovereign will of the people of Ghana is a question of a referendum for the people to have a say and have an input. That denial by President Nana Addo Dankwa amounts to a lynching of the rule of law. He's engaged in a constitutional lynching of the rule of law.
We'll be back in a bit. The Parliament has approved the withdrawal of the constitutional instruments that would have eventually enabled the elections of MMDCs and the participation of political parties in elections at the district assembly level. This was after President Akufo-Addo announced his government's decision to abort the process in an address to the nation on Sunday night and directed his ministers to initiate the needed processes. Attorney General Gloria Kufu on Monday prayed the House to give her leave to withdraw the said CI.
Withdraw one. The Constitution Amendment Bill 2018 to amend Article 55(3) of the Constitution, and 2, the Constitution Amendment Bill 2018 to amend Article 2431 of the Constitution.
From granting the leave asked for by the Attorney General, and I so grant leave to withdraw the bill.
Now, speaking in Parliament after the withdrawal, Tamale South MP Haruna Idrisu accused the President of lynching the Constitution.
Let me state without fear of contradiction that President Nana Addo Dankwa is not the Electoral Commission of Ghana and has no mandate whatsoever. Neither is he clothed with any mandate as Executive President to interfere with the work of the Electoral Commission. And I refer you to Article 46 of the Constitution. Except as provided in this Constitution or in any other law, not inconsistent with this Constitution, in the performance of its functions, the Electoral Commission shall not be subject to the direction or control of any person or authority. Therefore, we find his unilateral usurpation of the powers of the EC in withdrawing the referendum question unacceptable. The sovereign will of the people of Ghana is a question of a referendum for the people to have a say and have an input. That denial by President Nana Addo Dankwa amounts to a lynching of the rule of law. He's engaged in a constitutional lynching of the rule of law because the sovereign will of the people of Ghana is vested in the Constitution. So curtailing the process, he has not done any good to the decentralization system of Ghana, neither has he done good to participatory democracy in Ghana. And I dare add that if under Article 290 was simple majority, they would not have consulted the NDC minority.
But at a joint news conference addressed by the Attorney General, local government minister and majority leader, they justified the president's decision to withdraw the CI. Majority Leader Osechi Mensah-Bonsu said the EC will immediately be notified to abort the process for the referendum.
President is directing the Electoral Commission to suspend an activity, and that the President is intruding into the functions of the Electoral Commission, and that he cannot direct the Electoral Commission in the performance of their duties. The President hasn't done anything like that. Bills, as I indicated to you in the morning, that come to be introduced in Parliament come at the instance of either Parliament as an institution or from members of Parliament, what we call private members' bills, or from the President. Ministers exist to assist the President to run the country efficiently. And any minister who comes to this House with a bill comes to this House with that bill at the prompting of the President. So today, when we finished with the prayers, correction of votes and proceedings, and we did a statement, and we had to enter public business, usually the Speaker would announce at the commencement of public business. And when the Speaker so announced, the Attorney General, who introduced the bill on behalf of the President, then rose to say that she was withdrawing the bill in accord with the reasons assigned by the President that we all heard yesterday. So that indeed is what the Attorney General has done. And indeed, it does not offend any provision in the Constitution, nor does it offend or breach any of our orders, known or unknown.
The New Patriotic Party has meanwhile endorsed the President's decision to cancel the December 17 referendum, insisting the cancellation is of national interest. General Secretary of the party, John Boadu, at a news conference on Monday, blamed the NDC flag bearer, John Mahama, for putting party interests above the national interest. He, however, insists the NPP has not completely abandoned the idea.
The President broadcast to the nation yesterday. For us as a New Patriotic Party, we are saddened that His Excellency the President of the Republic has given no choice but to issue instructions for the withdrawal of the proposed amendment of Article 2431 and 553 of the 1992 Constitution, which will have seen the benefits of multi-party democracy being extended to the local government level. We are, however, encouraged by the assurance last night that the President and his government are not giving up on this important search for a consensus for as long as the New Patriotic Party remains in office. It is not a secret that the system is silently mutating to multi-party participation as aspirants to assemblies rely on the mobilization, logistical, technical, and financial skills of parties to fight election to the assemblies. Nonetheless, given the NDC's unpredictable and indecisive leadership, the NPP supports the President's approach to withdraw the bills whilst the conversation goes on. It is in the national interest that the conversation goes on. His Excellency the President certainly deserves a lot of commendation for maintaining the need to secure true multi-party democratic practice in Ghana by agreeing, among other things, to devolve part of his appointive power back to the people in order to fully democratize the nation's local governance regime and thus strengthen decentralization. The NPP hopes that sooner than later, a broad national consensus will be arrived at for these amendments to be carried through for the love of Ghana and for the love of God and for the love of country Ghana.
John Boadu also accused the NDC of betraying Ghanaians, adding it shows a lack of leadership in the opposition party.
Having had a resounding success at creating the new regions together, we are all of the firm belief that the whole nation was again on course to achieving another resounding success at the referendum, as had been agreed by all stakeholders, including the leadership on the NDC, until the NDC's sudden breach of faith regarding the consensus that all the political parties, CSOs, faith-based organizations, and other key stakeholders on the referendum. The NDC U10 is nothing else but an unpatriotic betrayal of the Ghanaian people. It is yet another clear sign of the lack of leadership at the very top of the main opposition party. The leader and 2020 presidential candidate of the NDC, John Mahama, has once again lived up to his own prescription of himself in his autobiography, Indecisive. He cannot take a decision and stick to it. John Mahama is not a leader because he does not stick to principles and cannot make up his mind even on what is good for his country. He told President Akufo-Addo in the presence of President Rawlings and Kufuor in April 2017 that he was in full support of the reforms that were going to be introduced, that is, multi-party democracy to the local government system. Then he was not the leader of the NDC, obviously.
Well, the opposition National Democratic Congress has also reacted. They've put out a statement and they're claiming vindication in the decision by the president to withdraw the articles, the CI. So they said, they're saying that National Democratic Congress has taken note of the address to the nation last Sunday night by President Akufo-Addo, in which he announced the cancellation of the December 17 referendum and the withdrawal of the bill to amend Article 243 to ensure the election of metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives. The NDC views the cancellation of the referendum as a refreshing victory for the party and the broad coalition of no campaigners who rallied to oppose the intended partisan politicization of Ghana's local government system. Our collective patriotic decision to put Ghana first and preserve the sanctity of the non-partisan local government system of Ghana has paid off. It goes on to say that withdrawal of the vexatious constitution constitution bill means that the district level elections and local government administration will be insulated from the vagaries of extreme lead partisanship, which have characterized politics at the national level. It would afford an opportunity for Ghanaians at the local level to freely participate in the governance of the localities, independent of the influence of partisan machinations as intended by the framers of the 1992 Constitution. And it says, we acknowledge the stance of various organizations such as the National House of Chiefs, Catholic Bishops' Conference, Christian Council of Ghana, Chamber of Local Governance, and the Center for Ethical Governance and Administration, as well as academia and patriotic individuals, which compelled the president to withdraw the Constitution Amendment Bill, which sought to introduce partisanship into Ghana's local government system. It says the NDC finds reason given by the president as basis for the decision to call off the referendum as contrived and self-serving. The justification of a lack of broad national consensus is only convenient excuse calculated to save President Akufo-Addo from public ridicule relative to the abortive amendment of Article 55(3). We wish to state without any equivocation that the real reason for the decision by President Akufo-Addo to cancel the December 17 referendum was nothing but his fear of imminent defeat for a 2-yes vote had the referendum come off. His fear of the embarrassment that defeat would have caused him and his government is what compelled and informed his decision and nothing more. Says the cancellation was therefore motivated by the selfish political interest of President Akufo-Addo and not the lack of any broad national consensus as he would want Ghanaians believe. And the statement is signed by John Singesiedu Nketia, the General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress. You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break. Some policemen deployed to the Tiptoe Lane at Kwame Nkrumah Circle were attacked by Arab retailers who were protesting the lockup of their shops by their Ghanaian counterparts. Monday morning's exercise, according to the retailers, was to drum home their call for the foreigners to leave the retail space, reserved exclusively for locals by law. The exercise degenerated into a full-blown fracas with at least 5 persons sustaining injuries. Komlandom reports the Ghanaian traders said they would continue to lock up the shops until they witness some form of compliance on the part of the foreigners.
Another day here at Tiptoe Lane at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle. A horde of Ghanaian retailers stormed the business enclave to lock up the shops of their foreign counterparts, largely Nigerians.
Nigeria for the Empamomo. By 8 million enter assassin was on 12 o'clock near to 2 almost stores in them. Thinking, say, Omoba, Ombebuye, Omba, almost organized because so many CSIS operation. Omkita stones in that day.
Okay, so all he's been saying is that this dawn they came here to shut the shops of the Nigerian and foreign retailers in the retail space, but the occupants of those shops came this morning and they came sort of trying to attack them. A heated confrontation among the traders drew the attention of the police. These traders were firm in their resolve to drive the foreigners out of a retail space.
ShopRite, a foreign company, and now they are shop, yeah, to foreigners are Oma Babaji Ghana for Eduma and Ranabo by say Ghana for pet and Yano. Oma Bajia, Omo Aye. And see a bino, yeah, kindness, Mlebi or I was some of the Samlano, Omodi Ayaduma. So Omu Refia.
So yeah, all he's been saying in summary is that they are going to ensure that the GIPC Act, which forbids foreigners from participating in retail trade, is enforced, and so all the foreigners who are occupying shops here and carrying out retail activities are expected to live here.